Okay, so picture this. What if writing software wasn't really about typing out endless lines of code, but more about directing an AI? Well, that's exactly the promise behind a brand new AI development platform called Antigravity. And look, this is not just another fancy autocomplete tool. No, this is a whole new way of thinking about how we build things.
So, let's just start with a really big question. What if your code editor wasn't just a tool you used, but an active partner? You know, a coworker that you could give a high-level goal to, and it would just figure out a plan and actually build it, all by itself. That idea right there is the heart of what anti-gravity is all about.
And that promise? Well, it's a huge shift in thinking. We're moving beyond just getting a little AI assistance here and there to what people are calling an agent-first world. And that's the key concept we really need to get our heads around today.
So what on earth does agent-first actually mean? Well, it's a model where you're not just getting little suggestions for code. Instead, you have these autonomous AI agents that do the real heavy lifting. They do the planning, they write the code, and they even do the testing. Your job, it shifts to being the guide, the one providing the high-level direction.
This really puts the difference in sharp contrast, right? Today's AI assistants, they suggest snippets, they react to what you're doing, but at the end of the day, you are still doing the bulk of the work. With an AI agent, it's totally different. It completes whole tasks, it plans things out, and executes on its own. The bottom line is, it does the work, and you supervise.
Okay, so that all sounds pretty amazing in theory, but what does it actually look like in practice? Let's break down the actual workflow when you sit down to build something with a tool like this.
It really boils down to 4 pretty simple steps. First, you just give the agent a goal in plain English. No complicated pseudocode needed. Then, the agent comes back with a detailed plan of attack. Next, and this is the cool part, it just goes to work. It's writing code, running tests. It might even pop open a browser to see how its own UI looks. And finally, your job is just to review the results. You're the director, not the person typing every line.
This quote just nails it, doesn't it? Your main job isn't about semicolons and syntax anymore. It's about being an architect and a supervisor. You're the one designing the blueprint and then making sure your autonomous workers are building it correctly. And you know what that means? Skills like systems thinking, seeing the big picture, suddenly become way more valuable than just knowing the ins and outs of one specific programming language.
So, when all this actually clicks into place, what's the real payoff? Let's talk about the wow moments, the things that make you feel like, yeah, this is a genuine leap forward.
There are 3 huge wins here. First, we're talking about true automation. The agent isn't just finishing a single function for you, it's building out entire features across multiple files. Second, you can run multiple agents at the same time. I mean, imagine having one agent building out your UI while another one is writing the backend logic simultaneously. And third, and this one is absolutely crucial, it is totally transparent.
Right, so this is not some mysterious black box. The agents create these things called artifacts, which are basically their work logs. You get detailed plans, screenshots of the UI they're building, even video recordings of their browser sessions. And that level of transparency is everything. It's how you build trust, and frankly, it makes figuring out what went wrong so much easier.
Okay, it's easy to get carried away here, because this all sounds incredible. But let's take a deep breath and have a little reality check. This is brand new tech, and we've got to talk about what it's like to use it today. Because it's not magic, and it's definitely not perfect. Not yet, anyway.
So, what are the bumps in the road? Well, first off, writing good prompts, giving the agent a clear, effective goal is a whole new skill you have to learn. Prompt engineering is a real thing now. Then there's the fact that the AI can still totally misunderstand what you're asking for if it's too complex or nuanced. The code it spits out, especially for things like user interfaces, almost always needs a human touch to get it looking just right. And probably the most important thing, human review is essential. You absolutely cannot just ship what the agent builds without checking its work. And it's worth remembering, this whole thing is a free public preview right now. What does that mean? It means we're all kind of part of the experiment. Bumping into bugs and limitations isn't a sign that it's failing, it's just part of the journey when you're dealing with something this new and this ambitious. So, when you put it all together, the jaw-dropping potential on one side and the very real limitations on the other, what's the verdict? Is this really the beginning of coding's next chapter? And maybe more importantly, where does this thing actually fit in your toolkit right now?
All right, here's a practical way to think about it. It is fantastic for rapid prototyping, getting a new idea up and running fast. It's a lifesaver for generating all that boring boilerplate code that slows everyone down, and for automating tedious little tasks. But
You really need to be cautious about using it for your production-critical code or for really complex business logic that has a ton of nuance. And for that final pixel-perfect UI polish, you'll probably still need a human for that. It's an incredibly powerful tool, you just have to know when and where to use it.
Which, of course, leaves us with that one giant question. Is this how everyone is going to be building software in the future? Maybe not tomorrow exactly, but it sure feels like we're getting a sneak peek at the blueprint for a whole new kind of developer, the architect, the supervisor, the director of AI. And honestly, that is a pretty exciting future to think about.